Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back with another video. Hope you're well wherever you are. This one's a bit later than planned, really, because I have had quite low energy as usual, so I do struggle to get up in the morning, and then sometimes I have a cat nap, and then I don't wake up for ages. So I didn't quite get to, and I've also been a bit indecisive, so I've probably been procrastinating too much. That normally comes from not having too many ideas or not being motivated enough or having that self-belief. Anyway, I hope these videos, including this one especially, will make the world a better place, hopefully. But and as ever, I would love to know. I'd love to read your views and what ideas you have, and any ideas that are raised that you don't like or that you do like, respectively. But yeah, so as it was, technically it was International Women's Day, as it's nearly 1 in the morning here in the UK. Some parts of the world it probably still is International Women's Day, obviously with time zone differences. But basically, due to that fact, I wish, hope, and dream to discuss some of my thoughts and ideas on how to potentially empower women in, especially ones in developing countries and women of color. WOC, as I say, an acronym for women of color, and things like that. So I'd love to empower women, and especially, as I say, women of color, especially in developing countries, in particular in what I call the six, which I mentioned before. So I don't want to go into too much detail as to what the six are. I don't know what that noise was. I'm getting freaked out, but yeah, sorry. But yeah, yeah. Sorry. To empower women of color, especially in developing countries, and like maybe women of color could mentor their fellow women of color in developing countries, like especially, say, for instance, black women could go to parts of Africa or Australasia and mentor, teach, and train their fellow black women in those countries, like black British or African American women could mentor them, or women of color generally around the world, especially, as well as women in general, like mentoring each other and training each other. But also, like, maybe sometimes men could mentor women about what they know as well. I would say what we know, but since I don't know much, I'm just an ideas person. Probably not myself included, but yeah. We could share ideas and strategies and information so that celebrate, like, female content creators, for instance, women content creators, especially women of color. Sorry, I'm struggling to get my sit comfortably and get my back straight. But yeah, so supporting, I say, so yeah, allies and all that could support women of color. But yeah, just supporting women generally, but especially from like parts of Africa and Asia, and again, and from Ireland and what I call the six generally, which I mentioned before. And so I'd love to discuss what sort of areas, or read people's comments about what advice you have on, like, what sort of areas we could empower women in. I think, like, areas like politics, having a voice, business, tech, STEM generally, possibly, I was going to say engineering, but that comes under STEM. But yeah, science, tech, engineering, and maths, and different areas where they could be empowered, and like especially educating them, and I suppose educating young girls so they can become empowered women in the future. Educating from the youngest possible age, I think, would be really good. Like things like Black Girls Code and things like that. I was going to say Black Girls Tech then, Black Girls Code, and things like that, and helping women game makers, technologists, and, as I say, and that, I think it'd be cool if women made, like, video games, online games, and stuff like that, especially women from Africa and Australasia, like women of color, as I say, especially black women. I think it'd be interesting to see if they could become game makers and things like that. So yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. I say it'd be great if they mentored each other and things like. Sometimes they can mentor online, and sometimes they could travel. It's quite cold here in the UK. I forgot to say in the intro that it's been, for those overseas who might stumble across this crazy guy here, it's been snowing here in the UK, which I love snow, but although it is a bit slippy and dangerous in a way, so I don't quite like that bit, or the cold bit of it, but I do love, like, how it looks. I think it's very soothing. It looks great, so I think it's really pretty and beautiful and stuff like that. Anyway, but yeah, I'd love to read your ideas, as I say, and how we could help, like say, women network or help or encourage companies and even males themselves to be like allies and to talk about like listening to women having their voices, and like women content creators, YouTubers, TikTokers, like supporting projects made by women, women founders, as I say, politicians, business people, political networks, businesses, tech, STEM, and all sorts of areas like that, as I say, generally. And also, yeah, women as poets, artists, writers, architects, designers, creators, makers, and all sorts of things like that. Like, I love for my fellow dyslexics, especially women with dyslexia, to go and mentor women and girls with dyslexia in Africa and Asia and things like that. And women from the West could help, as say, or more advanced countries in a lot of cases, obviously if they wish to do so, which would be their choice, could help women in developing countries. So I'd love to hear who would be interested in ideas like that and how we could perhaps put it together. But I suppose if I was more organised and I thought of this idea before, because a lot of time I'll think of ideas and I'll think, I wish I thought of that before. So I suppose being dyslexic, I need extra time. But I think that, but yeah, I wish I'd came up with that idea before. Like a lot of times, I wish I did come up with ideas before. Like if I checked my diary and I knew when this date was, but I don't think I found out it was International Women's Day till like quite late in the day itself. So I didn't come up with those ideas, and I had different ideas and all that. And then suddenly I thought, yeah, well, I should make some videos on that, perhaps. Yeah, so I suppose it's too late to do it this year, but next year would be great maybe to have, as I say, I wish I came up with the idea earlier. Maybe even, I mean, obviously it could still be done this year, but it would be too late for Women's Day itself. But it would be great for, like I say, people to mentor and teach and train women, especially in developing countries, in what I call the six. Please check out my other videos where I talk about what I call the six, so I don't have to repeat those things. If you check out, I think I probably made a video called the six itself. But yeah, I'd love to read your comments, and sorry if it's not the most coherent, but I did try and think through and plan the idea. So I've got a bit of runny nose again, because I think that it's I think because of the cold. And Yalon, sorry if I pronounced this name wrong, Yalonda's Life with Dyslexia said, "Hello, how are you doing?" I'm doing okay, thanks, Yolanda. I'm struggling to be motivated, but I'm just trying to get myself motivated and come up with ideas. And I think I spoke to Yolanda in another dyslexia group. So yeah, I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. If you could post any thoughts you have about like how to empower women, maybe especially women with dyslexia or other neurodiverse conditions in parts of Africa or Asia, especially. I mean, thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah, she said you're doing good. For those who don't know, can't see that. But yeah, so appreciate that. Thanks so much. Thanks for your support, and I really appreciate it. Does sometimes with my mental health problems and my anxiety and my depression, it does. I do need to get motivated. I do need to. Sometimes I think, what am I doing? Like talking into a microphone, am I really making an impact? And I get some negative comments, or sometimes I don't get comments at all, which is just as bad, or if not even worse, because then I'm thinking, does anyone even watch my content, or is it making a difference? So yeah, I would love to, as I read different people's comments and ideas, including both women and men, about how to empower women, mentor and teach and train. So if you do have any ideas you can think of that could build this network, it would be cool to read them and like share them and network and that sort of thing. As I say, like, maybe it's like even just simple things like Googling or checking out on YouTube like videos. I often do that myself, like about projects that help women in Africa or Asia or elsewhere in terms of like politics, business, tech, all those areas I talked about. So even sometimes like doing that, I wonder if it does help. I think it does, like giving them a view. So hopefully they can use those if they monetize their YouTube channels and things, that hopefully they can raise funds for those causes. But yeah, Yolanda, thanks so much. And I'd love to read your comments, any ideas or suggestions you have, like empowering women. And yeah, anyone else as well, and that's great. But yeah, I think I've covered everything now. I'm probably waffling and make this video quite long. I know I should make the videos a bit shorter so that people can like so I don't bore people too much, and or at all preferably. But so I'm not ignoring, obviously, I'm not ignoring people who do comment. But yeah, I probably should wrap it up. But yeah, please, Yolanda and others, don't hold back any feedback or any ideas you have. Like most importantly, to empower not just me, but mainly women, especially women of color and in particular in developing countries, and but yeah, just around the world as well, like especially those who need being encouraged and uplifted. And yeah, anyway, I am out. Peace and out.